Hello, Dr. AJ. My name is Emmett Foley, and this is my city, New Wotown. In New Wotown, there is approximately 560 people. This is originally something that you commented on, saying in my original city, my population was too low for the density of the buildings. So this is something I addressed in this newer model of New Wotown. So what I did was I removed a lot of the single family housing, and I ended up implementing a lot more multifamily housing and higher rise buildings as well. For example, in this area, there are a few buildings that are regular height, which for me was around, for this region, was around like 3 to 4 stories. But then you have a few buildings that are have a darker filling, which imply a higher rise. And what I was thinking was probably something more around 7 to 10 stories. Now, I also included a little bit more density down here, and more housing in that area as well. This New Wotown is a Mediterranean city. It would have a similar area to a city like Barcelona. The temperature would also be quite similar, so probably around, in the summers, it could get up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. In the winters, it could be roughly as low as 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So if I were to live in New Wotown, I personally would want to live in this area right here where this little asterisk is. The reason I would like to live here is, first off, this area of my map is based off the city Barcelona, and the sort of block patterns where they have like this sort of it's like a diamond shape if you look at an aerial view, and what it allows is better car traffic, as well as a more pleasant and greener sort of city and approach. And Barcelona is a city I really would like to live in, so that gives me a reason to live here, as well as it having close proximity to many different things. One being the large center park in the middle of the city that has a lake included. As well, in this park, there are many different sort of features. For example, you have a really dense forest like sort of area. To the north east, there is sort of a flatter area that allows for like a football pitch or soccer pitch. And then another good thing about living here is, as I said, close proximity to subway stations and centrally located. As well as being really close to the ocean. The way my city is shaped, it's kind of at like the northern coast, and below it is the ocean that would go down below, sort of. As well as a river that runs right through the old historic part of the city. Now, the city sort of ages in different, it has different like age and times. to it. Down here is a really historic, tight-knit, sort of European, kind of like Paris or London, sort of. And then as you progress in time a little bit, you get this kind of more grid pattern, as I said, Barcelona style. And then due to the mountainous area, this doesn't have as much to do with time, but it does. There's a little bit to do with time due to the single family housing. As you can see, most of the single family housing is found farther out in areas like the suburbs. And then over here is the main business area and the main industry area. The industry area is pretty alone. I tried to keep it away from the main city, but this was something you were talking about a little bit in your review of my first, is that my city seemed segmented, but this is sort of something I wanted to keep, but I also understand where you're coming from. So down here in the historic area, I put a few lightly used industrial zones to show how this used to be the only part of the city and needed to have its own industry. Now up here you can see these dashed lines, and also you can see in a few other spots on the map, this represents vacant or construction zones. And my thought process with this was, up here is the newest area of the city, the most expanding area. So they are currently building these new housing and storefront areas. Now, if I had to choose where I would want to work, it would have to be sort of right here. The reason I'm picking this place is, number one, close proximity to subway stations. And it's also kind of in a really good centrally located spot for where most of the office buildings are. It's also really close to the Central Park, as well as a few smaller ones outside. I have a main sort of entertainment district here near the largest subway station that has the most rails running through it. This is because it's the most centrally located. But also, as you can see, there's a few entertainment zones here in the business area, as well up in the mountainous region, and even in the historic as well. So down here is a area that is a national park. What I planned with it was to have the river run through it, and as you would move further up, the park would continue up in this sort of zone. And it also includes a shorefront down here. And on the beachfront, there would be like a sand dune sort of region that would be really useful for, or just a really beautiful attraction for tourists or just people in the city wanting to catch a break. Now, scattered around, I have institutional areas. So like here, up here, down in this corner right here. They're used for police stations, fire stations, schools. My one thing I was really thinking of when it came to this was I wanted to build like colleges for the city. So up here is the main public college, sort of in the mountain area. it has a very large campus that is surrounded by multi-family housing on the south and single-family housing in the north. And the way I came to that helped me with this idea of having single-family and multi-family housing around the campus is how UC, University of Cincinnati's campus is sort of planned with the housing arrangement, where there's apartment buildings as well as individual single-family housing. And down here, what is more of the private college that I was planning of. So, and it has a lot less housing around it, but it's understandable because of its size compared to the larger college. As you can see, in many areas there's zigzagged lines. These zigzag lines represent shared spaces. So the shared spaces are mainly with commercial, neighborhood commercial, or business or office space. So as you can see here, most of these buildings include shared spaces, and this is because the first story of these buildings would have like shops or offices in it, and then as you go up, it would become housing. So yes, this is my city, New Wotown. I appreciate the class and everything. Thank you.